All right, Peter Marra has had over 300 poems published, either in print or online, and over 25 journals. Born in Brooklyn, he moved to the East Village in the late 70s when punk rock and Times Square were exploding. Peter's work often deals with the forgotten hidden civilization, usually found in urban areas. People we rarely notice, junkies, the unhoused, sex workers, etc. His sixth poetry collection, A Dirty Diary of Ordinary Days, recounting his time spent haunting Times Square, and the East Village of NYC circa 1977 to 1989, has been recently published by the Incunabula Media. All right, everybody give it up for Peter Marra.
Thanks, Shane. Okay, you hear me all right, I guess? All right, this is the book, A Dirty Diary of Ordinary Days, and like Shane said, it's about my time in the East Village and Times Square of New York in the 70s and 80s when it was at its peak of sleaziness. First piece is called A Sultry Neutron Bomb. I don't know who killed her. She was just dead one day, stabbed multiple times. The incognito fluffer poured the contents of the bag into the bent tablespoon. Shaking slightly, the actress held the spoon over the cigarette lighter and heated the contents. Biting her lower lip, she watched until she could detect the aroma of burnt sugar. Not too bad, not cut much. Removing the spoon from the flame, she set it upon the dirty wooden table and let the spoon rest on its bent handle. A small wad of cotton was dropped into the fluid. Steadying her hands with difficulty, she stuck the needle of the hypo into the cotton and carefully drew up the fluid. The investigations proceeded in the usual fashion. Depraved detectives hid behind the shield and the cross. Renegades prayed for their souls as the function of the orgasm would become much clearer. Lace the corset tighter. I like the way it feels when I fuck. Stoic nuns and priests dumped out of parochial school landed on the pavement, sliced their wrists for redemption, watched each other bleed out as they bathed. Downtown, children laughed. The rabid females sat cross-legged and stared at the blank horizon, forgetting their purpose as lovers fucked on the beach of white friction. Formerly delicate creations from suburbia, they now dressed in rags and tight leather, sharpened their straight razors, and hallucinated a new world order. Blood was a beverage of choice, and as they intersected, they created a new oversoul. As they morphed their bodies of flesh became pain and exquisite gorgeousness. The baseness of their suburban existence had been annihilated. Breathing slowly, as climax upon climax was achieved, thoughts were freed. An engine's blistering heat in the desert evening, silent in a low purr, soothing violent souls until the next time. Got the scares again, it's coming back again. She tied off her left arm with the leather bootlace and searched for a bulging vein. She located a nice one. Holding her breath, she stuck the needle into the blood vessel until she felt the familiar pop. She pushed in the plunger until some of the fluid was in the vein, then slowly withdrew the hammer. A delicate crimson flower blossomed in the fluid. She pushed and pulled several times. Babylon Blue, her city of lust. Love had left her. She was abandoned on the rotary phone. Black nylon was taut against sweaty skin, accentuating the shape of her legs and complementing her aroma, a mixture of fear and pain. Her hands are so delicate, untroubled, no pain, clothed in red and black vapor. She was drifting towards the cracked windows of Jesus Christ again. A lot of the pieces in this book, a person is mentioned whose name is Velvet, or V. She was a pornographic film actress that I used to hang out with a lot during this time, and she introduced me to a lot of the underworld in New York City. This piece is called Obliterative Motives. On screen, we're watching the actress display her pussy to the mirror, praying for relief. Snickers from the meager audience. Velvet fingers herself, then plays with me using her pre-lubricated fingers. Outside, dozens of Times Square weep and smile. She had to be consistent with the theorem, the predictable acts that attempted to control her life since birth. They hoped she would be successful, a star, but she was empty and haunted by creatures every morning at 4 a.m. Overcome by a supersized eros, she was all tingly, a phrase she frequently used. She pulled a blanket of dirt over her, covering her naked form. Only her eyes remained exposed to gray light. One more radical sexual encounter, maybe the last. Fractured forms came to pray and ask for a miracle. They sang to her and asked many questions, which she answered with nonsense syllables. The oracle at the deuce. A few close friends longed to see her former self. Diabolical serene diorama. Voices trapped in cavities. Lord, save her. Look again to the final leather window. Cool, comforting soil. Later that evening, we adjourned to downtown Beirut. Microscopic punk club bar on 1st Avenue and 9th Street, near the dealers selling bags of Sensimilla. 1 a.m., sitting at the bar, we noticed Matt Dillon and Chris Penn fresh out of Rumblefish. Some drunk harassed them and Matt sucker punched him. Blood dripped down the guy's face. Everyone was silent, afraid to move. Bartender Paul was shitting his pants. We watched, we left, we didn't give a crap. Hollywood fuckers, porn's better. My true death. Aggressive, violent behavior are the symptoms. Medical quackery. Cause or effect. V was washed out, limp on the couch. Images of transgressions as the mourning doves remained mute for the first time. Time to take a ride. A few minutes to go. Opposite sides of childhood memories. A room breathes as our heart burns. One more cracked mirror. Sea of vanity. Thank you. This piece is, it's a date, it describes a date I went on in 1980. It's called Flexible Demons. She was clever, rude, loved to joke, and possessed an evil streak. Stopping herself to admire her fingers, we continued walking past CBGB's down the Bowery. Hot July, the air smelled of humidity and unwashed humans. We stopped at her building. We went inside. A basket descended through a hole in the ceiling and stopped in front of us. She put the money in the basket and tugged on the rope. Up went the basket. A few minutes later, down the basket came with a payload of 2 glassine packets, 2 shots of body bag heroin, the best on the Lower East Side. As an extra bonus, the basket contained the blue chip syringe. I guess we can share, she said. How cute. Lua Lock tip, the best. She was referring to the syringe. We could hear whispering all around us, circling but not seen. The walls and floor were uneven. A steel chair was placed in the center of the room. V walked over to it and sat down. Her flexible, translucent form was reflected in the over-polished wooden floor. We could hear music from the first Blondie album floating underneath our feet, mixed with various muffled noises indicative of sex or violence. Some scummy punks lived below. Taking the hypo in her right hand, she felt for a vein in her left arm, just on the underside of the elbow. She switched the syringe to her mouth and tied off with a leather lace. Quickly, she inserted the needle into the bulging vein and pushed the plunger in, withdrawing after a second. The coveted red blossom gently kissed the clear liquid in the syringe. "So pretty," she said, then "so pretty," in a much lower voice. She kept repeating the phrase until she pulled the needle out and removed the leather lace. Velvet's complexion was albino, and her eyes rolled up. Only the whites showed, albumin. A thin trickle of red cooled down her left forearm. A quick stream of vomit exited her mouth and splashed onto the floor, a glowing green puddle. "Tell me some stories." As the high wore off about 8 hours, she eventually was able to get up and walk around. She played some old 45s on a child's record player, a close-in play that she had lifted from Goodwill. I remember Spanish Stroll by Mink DeVille. Her body was fluid and moved gracefully. She started to talk about her past lovers. "My last boyfriend went missing about 2 weeks ago. Went out one night, never came back. I guess the undertow got him. Finally. Sometimes I love you. Crawl into my madness."
Yeah.
I'm going to read 2 more pieces and then I'll call it a day. All right, this piece is called Talk Dirty to Me. A week here, a week there, one more repetition, and then tomorrow, another repetition. Aphasia, seated in a chair in front of a screen, frozen in speech, waiting for a night to encircle her, her frozen tongue not speaking. Just watch the figures on the screen play out. She sees or hears but can't tell what she feels. Let's talk about our petty crimes at the Avon 7 porn dive. I like to watch you fuck, baby. So hot. Velvet had her fans and admirers. Just another asshole, not speaking, just pointing palsied fingers at dead movies. Dead movie spool generating hollow echoes in theater seats. She was on fire as the patrons squirmed. It was the torn and scorched screen, the price of admission. Sin in her eyes, the film's images, a cock in each hand that'll make money, constantly rewound. They're sitting and watching still. The projectionist laughs and is searching for the missing last reel as they wait for completion. Flesh frames, picture frames nailed to the walls, red slice suicide clocks, crucifixes of 3 signs, and breasts hanging low for the peep show. Transition to now, bastard children play in the street just for a taste of blood. The hydrant boils while they sharpen their knives, and the kids gaze at the saints. No questions. Watch the stuff. It made me so fucked up last night. Still feel it in my veins. See? Black and blue and scratches on my cheek. Not sure who did it. My name was on the marquee at the Lido. Went inside. Shit. It smelled of pissing tranny cum. Had my switchblade with me just in case. Only had to use it once / New Year's Eve, I remember. Got the fucker on the left side. He shouldn't have grabbed my cunt and tried to rape me. Weird. I didn't really feel the blade go in as I pushed it. Maybe my adrenaline and the junk numbed me. Had to go hide in another movie house. And my last piece is called 8mm art film. Sliding toward infinity, eyes wet, fingers trembling, the shaky, shaky spiders saw it all and held her secret close. Whisper, whisper. Come here, hold me. I'm scared the night is screaming. They want me. I hate this director. He thinks I'm too skinny and I'll do almost anything. It's fun. Her double life was closing in. The personalities had seen each other. An electron collision was imminent. They could touch and taste each other. Twisty, twisty end of the road was here. Whisper, whisper. The monkey is biting, licking my neck and tonguing me. Hidden pleasure and pain, but they know now. Behind the bright light and behind the director, she could see hazy faces watching her, uninterested. They were mandated to be there, and her male actor, he wanted to leave. I'm empty now. They hate me now. I mean nothing. I'll have to destroy everything. Just do it. You're getting paid. Do what we say, said a voice beyond the lights. She lay down on the bed, her eyes rolled back. I want that. Not sure what part I'll be playing. Thank you.
Peter Marra, everybody.